Hello guys, welcome back. Sometimes, the most dangerous journeys are the ones that feel the most ordinary. A girl, a ride home, a snowy road. What could possibly go wrong? This is the story of Rose, a college student just trying to make it home for the holidays. But one small decision, a ride with a quiet stranger, changes her life forever. What started as a simple road trip turned into a night trapped between the living and the dead. Then without any delay, let's begin the story. The story begins in Pennsylvania, at a university where we meet a girl named Rose, a quiet and focused student. She's planning to go home for the holidays and tells her boyfriend over chat that she'll take a bus. But he suggests something else, to check the campus rideshare board. Maybe someone's heading to Delaware, he says. You could save time and money. Curious, Rose checks the board and finds a post from a guy named Kyle, who's also going toward Delaware. She contacts him, and soon Kyle arrives in his old, beat-up car. They set off together, and at first, everything seems fine until Rose realizes something strange. Kyle already knows a lot about her. Too much. He tells her they're in the same class, but she swears she's never seen him before. As they drive through snowy, lonely roads, the air grows colder, and so does the mood. Rose feels uneasy. They stop at a gas station because Rose needs a restroom. But she's just painted her nails, so Kyle jokingly lifts her over his shoulder and carries her inside. At first, it feels playful. But when Rose finishes and tries to leave, the door won't open. She's trapped. She screams, banging the door, heart racing. Through a small vent, she sees Kyle and the gas station. As Rose struggled to open the locked restroom door, she heard voices. The gas station owners were talking. But they couldn't hear her. Panic rose in her chest. Somehow, she managed to unlock the door and stormed outside, furious. I was yelling for so long. Didn't you hear me? She snapped at Kyle. But Kyle stayed calm. I swear, I didn't hear anything, he said. His face looked genuinely confused. Rose cooled down a little, though still shaken. Kyle had bought a bottle of water from the station, so she offered to pay for half, feeling it was only fair. Kyle just smiled and said, I don't take money from pretty girls. She forced a small smile, unsure whether to feel flattered or creeped out. As they continued the journey, Kyle suddenly took a turn away from the highway. Why'd you leave the highway? Rose asked, tense again. It's a shortcut, Kyle replied casually. But his words didn't sit right with her. She started questioning him more, and slowly the truth unraveled. Kyle had lied. He didn't live in Delaware. He had no reason to go there. Who are you really? She asked, voice low and shaken. Why did you lie to me? Before he could answer, headlights appeared. A strange car was coming straight toward them. Fast. Rose's heart pounded. Something was terribly wrong. And this trip was no longer just a ride home. And then, out of nowhere, that strange car slammed into them. Kyle swerved, trying to save them. But in the chaos, the car slid off the road, crashing deep into the snow. Now, they were stuck. Alone. In the freezing cold. They got out, shivering, confused. But the other car? It had completely vanished. Rose pulled out her phone, fingers trembling. No signal. No way to call for help. Then they noticed something chilling. No tire marks in the snow. The car that hit them left no trace. Scared, Rose rushed back into the car and locked the doors. She glared at Kyle. This is your fault, she said, voice shaking. I don't even know you. You could be some psycho. Kyle didn't protest. He looked hurt, but calm. I'll go. I'll walk back to the gas station. Bring help, he said softly. And just like that, he disappeared into the white silence. Rose sat alone in the car, her breath fogging up the windows. She turned on the radio, hoping for company. But what she heard next only made things worse. A snowstorm warning. Temperatures dropping to -30 degrees. She hugged herself tightly, trying to stay calm. And then, through the window, she saw someone. A figure standing in the snow. Hope lit up in her eyes. She opened the window and shouted. Hey, I need help, she hoped. Maybe he was someone who lived nearby. Maybe he could help. But the man didn't react. He didn't even turn around. He simply walked away, disappearing into the white blur. Confused, Rose stepped out of the car to get a closer look. And just then, Kyle returned. He looked exhausted. And cold. I went to the gas station, he said. But it was closed. Empty. No one was there. Rose's eyes narrowed. Do you think I'm stupid? She snapped. That gas station is open 24/7. And it's far from here. How did you come back so fast? Now. She didn't believe anything Kyle said. Kyle's hands were shaking from the cold. He climbed into the car and turned the heater on. And soon, Rose had no choice but to get back in too. It was freezing outside. As she sat beside him, she noticed something strange. Your ear. It's bleeding, she said softly. Kyle touched the side of his head and shrugged. Maybe I got hurt, he muttered. They both sat in silence for a moment. Tired. Cold. Afraid. Then Rose finally asked the question she'd been holding in. Why did you lie to me? You don't even live in Delaware, do you? Kyle looked down. Then slowly, he confessed. No, I don't. The truth is, I saw you in class one day. You were busy. Texting your boyfriend. I saw your messages. And I don't know why. But I liked you. I wanted to be close to you. So, I posted that fake ride notice. I just wanted a few hours with you. That's all. Kyle had only wanted one thing. To become good friends with Rose. At first, Rose was angry. His confession felt like a betrayal. But over time, her anger softened. And she forgave him. They sat in the car, trying to stay warm. But suddenly, the heater shut off. Worried, they stepped outside to check. And found that the fuel tank was leaking. The gas was gone. Which meant no engine. No heater. No warmth. They would have to survive the freezing night. Trapped in the car. A while later, Rose stepped outside to relieve herself. That's when she saw something strange. Priests walking silently through the snow. Alarmed, she called out to Kyle. But by the time he got there, the figures had vanished. Kyle told her, stay here. I'll follow them. And he disappeared into the darkness. Following their trail, he reached a creepy, abandoned house deep in the woods. Inside, he saw things that were not just strange. They were wrong. Back at the car, Rose saw another man walking by. Hope rose in her chest. She called out to him again and again. But the man kept walking, as if she were invisible. Desperate, she ran toward him and tapped his shoulder. But the moment she touched him, she screamed. Her fingers burned from the cold. Not the normal kind of cold, but something unnatural. The man slowly turned around. And Rose's blood ran cold. His face was horrifying. Twisted, ghostly, almost unreal. And when he opened his mouth, a snake slithered out. Terrified, Rose turned and ran. Her heart pounded. She wasn't just stuck in a snowstorm anymore. She was trapped in something far darker. Terrified and running, Rose suddenly came face to face with two boys. Their faces were pale. Their bodies torn and bruised. These weren't people. They were spirits of the dead. Boys who had been murdered horribly. Rose couldn't take it. Her knees gave out. She collapsed to the ground. And everything went dark. Moments later, Kyle returned. He found Rose unconscious, lying in the snow. Panicked, he picked her up and brought her back to the car. She was trembling. Her eyes full of fear. Through chattering teeth, she told him everything. The priests. The ghostly man. The snake. The boys. Kyle listened quietly. He believed her. Just then, a police officer appeared near their car. He looked normal. Human. Relieved, they stepped out of the car. But things changed quickly. The officer suddenly became aggressive. He demanded Rose get into his car. She hesitated. Something felt wrong. I'm fine, she said softly. I'm not going anywhere. But he grabbed her arm. You're getting in the car. Now, he growled. Fear turned to panic. Before she could react, Kyle grabbed a heavy iron rod and slammed it into the officer's face. Blood splattered. The officer fell. And then, everything changed. Suddenly, Rose and Kyle were back in their own car. Like waking up from a dream. But something wasn't right. Kyle looked at his hand. The iron rod was still there, frozen to his skin. This wasn't a dream. Rose tried to pull it away, but the metal had stuck so deeply, his hands began to bleed too. And then, she saw something. A newspaper. Old, dusty, and torn. Those old newspapers Kyle had brought back. They revealed the truth. He had followed the priests to that abandoned house. And inside, he found papers filled with horrifying reports. Stories of accidents, deaths, all on this very road. Among them were mentions of the same priests Rose had seen. And most chilling of all, the articles said that a police officer was connected to every death. He had been a part of it all. Suddenly, everything made sense. The people Rose and Kyle had seen on this road. They were not alive. They were ghosts. Spirits, stuck here for years. Still wandering. Still haunting. Exhausted and scared, the two curled up in the car. They drifted off into a restless sleep. But at 2:30 a.m., Rose had a terrifying vision. In her dream, that same police officer who tried to force her into his car. He had done it before. Years ago. He picked up a helpless woman from this same road. And then, he assaulted her. And murdered her. As Rose dreamed, her body began to shake violently. Her hands trembled. Her breathing turned ragged. Kyle woke up, alarmed. He gently shook her awake. Rose opened her eyes, frightened, gasping for air. She told him everything. Her voice was filled with fear. And then, their car began to shake violently. Something, or someone, was trying to get in. Both of them froze in terror. But just as quickly, the shaking stopped. Silence returned. But it wasn't peace. It was the silence of something watching. Kyle was now getting weaker. The injury behind his head. It was worse than he had let on. He had been hiding it from Rose. But now, she could see it. With a weak voice, Kyle said, "When I was walking to the gas station, I realized I was badly hurt. I just couldn't go any further. So I turned back." Rose's eyes filled with worry. She couldn't let him die. Desperate, she spotted an emergency telephone pole nearby. Without a second thought, she climbed it. Shivering, fingers numb, hoping, praying for help. But the signal was weak. Too weak to give the police her exact location. Frustrated and scared, she climbed back down. And then, right in front of her, appeared the ghost of the woman. The same woman the police officer had attacked and killed years ago. Heart pounding, Rose ran back to the car. She found Kyle lying motionless. She tried desperately to wake him up. But he was gone. Tears filled her eyes. She was alone now. With shaking hands, Rose pulled Kyle's body out of the car. Just then, she saw headlights in the distance. Her heart froze. Was it the evil officer's car coming for her? But as the vehicle drew closer, relief washed over her. It was a snowplow truck, driven by a road worker. The emergency call she made earlier had been traced to this man. Kyle's body was gently lifted into the truck. Rose climbed in, grateful but still shaken. The driver began to tell her a chilling story. Back in 1950, there had been a corrupt police officer on this road. He had caused countless deaths, deliberately blocking cars with his own vehicle, causing horrific accidents. People had died because of him. And in 1953, two boys' car was involved in one such accident. Their car slipped off the cliff and fell into the deep valley below. But the officer, he had been drinking heavily. He lost control of his own car as well. His vehicle crashed into the same ravine and he died. Yet, even after his death, every Christmas Eve, accidents kept happening on this road. Then, in 1961, some priests' bodies were found near the same spot, completely frozen in ice. As the driver told Rose this story, suddenly, another car appeared. He quickly swerved to avoid it, but ended up stuck in the snow. Rose looked ahead and saw the other car had fallen into the valley. It had caught fire. History was repeating itself. The same accident. The same road. The same darkness. Rose tried to stop the driver from getting out. But at that moment, the spirits of those priests appeared. She saw visions of the past. The night of the 1953 accident. The priests had wanted to help the police officer, but they knew he was a sinful man. So, they removed the microphone from his car, making sure he couldn't call for help. Trapped in the burning vehicle, the officer died a painful death. And now, his evil spirit had gathered those priests' souls together. The officer's spirit attacked with terrifying rage, and in one brutal moment, the driver was frozen to death. Rose watched in horror. Her hands trembled. Her breath caught in her throat. Panicking, she rushed back to the truck. She tried to start the engine, but it wouldn't start. Suddenly, the evil spirit appeared again. The corrupt police officer, eyes burning with hatred, reached for her. But before he could hurt her, a glowing, pure light appeared from behind. It was Kyle. His soul had returned, peaceful, radiant, and strong. He attacked the officer's spirit with all his might. And just like that, everything shifted again. Rose found herself back inside the car, beside Kyle's lifeless body, just like a dream. But outside, she saw him. Kyle's spirit watching her, guiding her. He wasn't trying to haunt her. He was trying to protect her. She followed his spirit. Through the snow. Past the priest's old house. All the way to the gas station. And just in time, an ambulance arrived. She was saved. Rose now understood the truth. Kyle had never meant to harm her. He had only wanted to spend a little time with her. Because in those few hours, he had fallen in love. She had only one thing left from him. A picture she'd snapped on her phone. As she stared at it, her eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "Thank you, Kyle." Back in 1953, the officer's crash had created a haunting loop. Every year, his spirit tried to recreate that accident. Again and again. But now, with Kyle's help, that dark cycle was finally broken. That evil spirit. Every year, on Christmas Eve, he relives his death. Just like in 1953. His car crashes again. And his cursed soul tries to take others with him. Anyone who dares to travel this road. He tries to kill them. Just as he did before. He would have taken Rose's life too. But it was Kyle's spirit that saved her. Fighting darkness with light. And if you liked this video, do hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more emotional and spooky summaries. See you in the next video. Till then, don't trust every shortcut, and never drive alone on a snowy night.